everyone. Thank you for joining me today. The purpose of today's presentation is just to run you through my portfolio with some key projects highlighted, and then I'll be able to answer any questions at the end. Any projects that I've chosen are specific to sort of public spaces and hotel design, which is obviously what we're focusing on for this project. So they'll all be in line with that. So just before we start, a little bit about me. So I am originally from South Africa, where I lived for most of my life. I do have some interior design and FF&E experience in South Africa, but it was mostly based in the residential sector. Once I moved to London, I started working on multiple different projects, a lot of them in the build to rent sector, which grew my experience with working in public spaces and with sort of contract grade fabrics and upholsteries in the furniture sector. So you'll see quite a few of my projects highlighted here. This is the first one. So this is Millwrights Place in Bristol. This is a build-to-rent development right in the city centre. It includes quite a few different amenities such as co-working areas, private dining areas. We have some outdoor terraces as well. So for this project, I was involved quite early on in the material selection for all of the amenities. I put together material presentation boards that you'll see here on the left. And then obviously I was involved in all of the FF&E. So you'll see here the sort of selection of the FF&E as well as all of the upholsteries and materials. This was for both the indoor selection and the outdoor selection. And then you'll see some images here. So this was the reality on site after we had completed, and this was one of the renders that was done previously. We obviously did all of the installation of the furniture, the styling, etc. This next one is the Barnum. So this one was in Nottingham. This is one of the first projects I worked on in the UK. Another build-to-rent development, holding a whole host of amenities. You'll see at the bottom here a sort of co-working / lounge area. Had this TV area as well with fireplace. We had a games room, private dining, and quite a few other different amenities. Again, the furniture selection for this project was both indoor and outdoor, as they had a terrace as well. And then again, putting together all of the furniture selections, as well as all of the extra stylings, artwork, etc. This project was in Birmingham. It's Cortland by Broad Street. Another build-to-rent development, quite a large development in Birmingham city centre. This project was shortlisted for a few awards last year, and my role within the project was mostly on the FF&E again. However, I did do some work on the material selection and board presentation as well. We also furnished and styled 2 show apartments prior to the opening of the full project, which was quite nice to work in something a little bit different to amenities. And then in terms of FF&E, we had quite a few different spaces. I've got some more images here. So obviously putting together all of the furniture selections for the different rooms. This was a garden room that was quite sort of indoor-outdoor in its feel, and quite natural and rustic. And then obviously on the day, doing all the styling and doing all of the furniture installations as well. This is the bar area, which was quite a nice, bright and light space. Definitely one of my favorite spaces in the project, that came together really nicely. You can see all of the furniture plans that we put together previously and how that correlates to the final renders. This project is the casting. So this was in Manchester. This was a build-to-rent development, but a little bit more on the higher scale. The client was a hotel owner, so this project definitely showed some of the finer finishes and FF&E for our portfolio. This project won Public Space of the Year at the BritList last year, so definitely nice to see it recognized. Again, holding a host of different amenities. We had some unusual amenities. So this was like a games DJ sort of lounge, but of like a speakeasy vibe. We had like a DJ booth here with a little bar on the side, some nice seating. And then you'll see here we had what we called a sensory room. So it had a massive screen, and it was a place where people could either watch sporting games or meditation, sound baths, etc. So some more interesting amenities within this project, which is quite nice to work on. And then again, all the usual bits of the FF&E. We did have some nice, beautiful custom rugs in this project as well that we designed, as well as artwork and styling, planting, etc. This was the sort of bar DJ games. So we had some beautiful custom rugs made. You'll see some material boards here, and FF&E selection here. Had a bit of a hacienda vibe because it was obviously in Manchester, so quite a nice space. This project was the Kimmeridge in Oxford, another build to rent, but a little bit smaller on the smaller scale. It had two quite large outdoor terraces, and the interiors included different co-working spaces. So we had a meeting room, we had some sort of Zoom booths, and we had another sort of more open co-working space. And then we also had like a lounge, private dining setup that was all sort of in one big room. This project was definitely a personal favorite. Lots of beautiful colors, and it definitely felt quite cozy. The FF&E was all selected with the idea of this sort of natural look and feel, both the indoor and outdoor. The private dining area, so we had these beautiful chairs, beautiful wallpaper as well, and then just matching all the colors to that. So it came together really nicely. The Holloway is a build-to-rent development in Birmingham again. It's being completed in two phases. So phase one was completed last year, and the second phase will complete this year. Altogether, it's quite a large scale project with lots of different private dinings, lounges. We've got, again, some interesting amenities in some more podcast studios, bars, etc. So something a little bit different. And again, I was involved from the start in this with the material selection and the scheduling of that, the indoor and outdoor furniture selection, and then eventually we'll go on to install and style on site as well. So this is the phase that's already been completed last year. We've got a reception area here, and then upstairs we've got sort of just a lounge / co-working with a tea point here as well. And that is everything I've got today. So I hope this selection has showed you a good overall idea of how I've worked in public spaces and amenities and different projects, all of them quite different in look and feel, but also different specifications, different requirements. So I hope that gives a good understanding as to how I can adapt and work in different scenarios. So I'll be happy to answer any questions anyone has.
Cool. So why do you think your experience would be useful when working in a hospitality setting?
So as I mentioned throughout, I think obviously there's quite a wide variety of projects here, all of them obviously looking different in design, but again, all of them having different specifications. So whether that's budget constraints, whether that's different suppliers being used, whether that's timeline constraints. I think because I've got quite a wide portfolio of different projects that were all different in their own ways, I think that allows me to use strengths from each project and lessons learned to be able to take that forward into any future hospitality projects, and use those learnings in future projects to help.
Okay, and Kaylee, what are your strengths that can help you?
I would definitely say one of my strengths would be my eye for design, from working over many different projects and putting in loads and loads of furniture. I think I have a very good eye as to specific pieces. So if I'm looking at a project and a design, I'm quite easily able to imagine pieces that could go in that design, just from experience and working with lots and lots of different suppliers, and using different products, sorry. And also being able to see a lot of product in real life. I'm able to advise as to what is comfortable, what works, what will look nice, what suppliers are good to use. So I think definitely just overall my experience with different suppliers and products would be one of my strengths.
So Kaylee, can you provide an example of a difficult situation that you overcame?
Yeah, sure. So while we're on this project, I would think this one, the Holloway was quite challenging in some ways. The first phase that was completed here was last year, and one of the requirements for this project, which we don't normally see too much, is that the client wanted to see a lot of the furniture in person, but had quite tight budget constraints. So that limits where you can obviously source furniture from, and a lot of furniture that could be seen, for example, in a London showroom would typically be on a more expensive budget. So it's challenged me to be able to source products that were cost effective, but that they could also access and sit on and see in person. It also opened up conversations with suppliers, trying to get better trade discounts, trying to see what we could do, which was definitely a challenge, but it was good because, as I said, it opened up new conversations. Project ended up looking really beautiful, and the client was really happy with all of the pieces. So definitely a challenge that we worked together to overcome. But yeah, it was a good challenge. Cool. All right. Well, thank you all for joining. And if you have any more questions, just let me know. And yep, hope you all have a good day further.
Fantastic.
Cool.
Thank you.